shift, keeping watch at Area 51. Mind is sharp, eyes locked like a loaded gun. CCTV feeds, ET beings. Don't come round here, we can kill it if it bleeds. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Orbs light up the sky, something isn't right. Dark truths hidden, but I'm aware. Night shift soldier, secrets everywhere. You on the night shift, baby. On patrol, night camouflage, stealth mode on. Walking through the silence till the break of dawn. Hidden bases, close encounters of the fourth kind. Bob Lazar was right.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's 20 after 2 on Wednesday, July 17th, I think. I hope. I've never been more convinced that we're living in a simulation than I am this week. After the last couple of days, I think it's beyond question that someone is just fucking with us at this point, and I'm not sure how to process it. So we'll talk about that a little bit in a few minutes. But let me pull up my notes. Here we go. All right. Welcome back, everybody. If you're watching live, welcome. If you're joining us later, welcome. Some channel updates. Today's video is going to be mainly a few updates with a couple of comments thrown in, just because it's been a big news week, and I feel like I should say something. I mean, I don't know how to navigate this space of being on YouTube and social media and the whole thing around it. As the channel is growing and the audience is growing and the community is growing, I find myself more and more drawn into various different discussions with you. And I think that I feel compelled to respond to everything in some way. But I do want to just say that I'm right there with you. Like, we're in this thing together, right? It's crazy out there. It's crazy out there. And so if I'm bringing anything to the conversation with Night Shift, if it accomplishes anything, then I hope that it accomplishes the goal of creating a safe space to talk about UFOs, UAPs, disclosure, artificial intelligence, climate catastrophe, all of this stuff, these gargantuan news events that are happening almost daily now. If you're finding yourself more and more looking around going, holy shit, this thing is really moving fast now, the Night Shift is for you. This is your place. It's a safe space to come hang out, talk with us about the unbelievable, which is happening more and more every day. I saw some stuff today that was just, it blew my mind. The text to video, I know I keep talking about AI, but the text to video stuff now, just in the last couple of weeks, has gotten so much better. It's so much better. It won't be long before we aren't going to be able to discern reality from fantasy anymore. Like, I'm convinced, and maybe I'm just old and this is just a generational thing, and this is the part where I just get old and I look around and I go, I don't understand anything anymore. But I don't. And so I think that that's important. It's important that I, at least say it so that other people, if you're out there and you're like, I don't get it either, like, what the fuck's going on? We can at least share in that, and I don't know, hopefully comfort one another in this time of weirdness. Let's do some channel updates. 5,836 subscribers. This is in the last 803 of them in the last 30 days, 28 days, actually. So we're creeping. I just was blown away the other day. I feel like this was just 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh, we hit 5,000 subscribers. Oh my God. But now we're knocking at the door and 6,000 is right there. It's so close. If anyone's watching this and you're not already a subscriber, do me a favor, hit that button, subscribe, become a member of Team Night Shift. How do you become a member? You subscribe, you just hang out with us. It's like that scene in Wayne's World where they go to the Alice Cooper concert. I'm not Alice Cooper, but I would totally hang out with Alice Cooper. And they go backstage and he's like, come on, hang out with us. Miliwake. It's now Algonquin word for the good land. So you join Team Night Shift by becoming a subscriber. You participate in the comments section. You hang out with us. You go over to some other places that we're setting up, which we'll get to in a minute. And you get involved. And if you want to be super cool and you really want to help me out and you want to support what I'm doing and you want to have something to show for it, go get yourself some Night Shift merch. And I've got some great Night Shift merch news for you, which we're going to get to in just a second. You can also support the show by becoming a member. Membership is like I think they have $3.99 and $4.99 if I'm not mistaken. It should be right around there. 2 levels. Full disclosure, as I go, I'm still learning how to do all this. Like I know I keep saying that, and I by now I should probably have it figured out. I feel like I have it a lot more figured out than I did a few months ago. But if I'm honest, as the channel grows, the need for me to put time into it only grows more and more. And it's getting to a point now where it's taking me a few days to get back to people. I put up a video and they get enough views now where I find myself responding to comments 2, 3, 4 days later. And I very, very truly, honestly do try to respond to every single comment and every single email. But I know some of them do slip through the cracks and occasionally I miss some. If I've missed your comment, first of all, that's awesome. I mean, thank you for leaving a comment. And if you're looking for a response from me, that's even cooler. Thank you for looking for a response because I guess I have something to say. But if I haven't gotten to your comment, hang in there. Keep commenting. Keep contributing to the conversation. Ask good questions. I've had guests actually agree to come on the show, not because of me. They could care less about me. They just want to speak to an audience that's switched on and cool. And they will go to the YouTube page and look through the comments and make a decision to come on the show based on you guys. So I think it's great. Like, I love to do this. I have a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy it. If anything, I'm a facilitator. Remember that Red Dwarf episode where they get, was it polymorph? Red Dwarf people. Which episode was it where each character had something removed, like an emotion removed, and Lister had his, what did he have? He had his fear removed, and Rimmer had his, I don't know what, something happened to Rimmer. Anyway, Rimmer's the facilitator. I'm the facilitator. If I can facilitate a conversation, a larger discussion about these topics and how they all kind of come together, and I can get us all together and we can just do that, I think that's worth doing. So insofar as Night Shift is anything, it's a place for us to just kind of hang out and talk about crazy things that appear to be happening. I say appear to be because I don't even know anymore. The news, it's impossible to know it's real. I keep saying this channel is an art project. I've talked about that a lot. I look at it as an art project because, and what the reason I use that term specifically is because it's the way that I'm processing the crazy shit that's going on every single day. And I just don't know any other way to do it. I feel like if I put these videos out and I talk to you and we talk back and forth and we just kind of like, are you seeing this? We're all seeing the same thing, right? This UFO thing is really happening, right? This disclosure amendment thing is really happening, right? Like that's going on. Like Congress is really talking about all this stuff. It's important to do a reality check, like once every 2-3 weeks. You need to just like check in and make sure that you're still grounded in some kind of like base reality. I feel like our society is so atomized now and everybody's got their own bespoke algorithm feed, just giving them the news, baby bird feeding it to them, and including me. It happens to me too. And we don't have very few events are big enough where they're common to all of us, like to kind of like affect everybody. Well, there's a lot of big events, but news events, you know what I mean? So for those events that are huge and world changing and society changing and matter for generations to come, I think it's important for us to have a dialogue going back and forth where we can sort of assess the situation and then look towards the future with a hopeful eye and try to articulate an idea of what it is that we want to see on the other side of this thing. So I'm sure we'll come back to that later in the show, but for right now, that's just kind of where my head's at. Uh, so almost 6,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Quick shout out to members. Membership has been growing. Thank you to all of my members: producer Brandon, Brian Jackson, welcome aboard. Mark Bates, Phi Trader, Avi Z, Christopher Hovord, Pack Rat, Proud Vermin, welcome aboard. Heather Willow, got your message. I agree. Thank you for being here. Great message. We're going to look at the store in just a minute. Hopefully, we can resolve your issue with the store. I think it's a browser thing. I think it's a cache in your browser. I think if you try a different browser, because I'm going to go on the store live and we're going to put some stuff in there in the cart and see if it gives us the same message. Joseph Christopher, Ding Ding 81. Reminds me of Rocky when Apollo's like, ding, ding. Susita NM, A Huff, Christian Dane, Shadow Patriot Terry. How's that shirt, Shadow Patriot Terry? Let me know. Alminius, Dr. R Fuzz, paging Dr. R Fuzz. Miss K, BB, Zendra Zero, Charlie Fisher, Thistle's Last Stand, Teresa Bailey, Brett Higgins, Stephanie Erickson, Anthony Haley. You are the heart of Team Night Shift. Thank you so much for being members. Thank you for supporting the channel. You're the reason I keep coming back and doing it. Okay, so a few updates. I keep saying updates and then I don't go to them. Here we go. Hey, it worked. The first time it worked. Night Shift website. I know I've talked about this before. Let me make sure I still have audio. Okay, good. I still have audio, looks like. Who's here, by the way? Let's check the chat real quick before I change gears. LC, Emery, welcome. Brett, hey, man. I got your message too, and I responded. I sent you an email back, Brett. So if you haven't gotten it yet, check your email. It was polymorph. It was polymorph. Okay, good. Rimmer was anger. That's right. He had that shirt that said, "Give Quiche a chance." I might put that in the store. I might make a duplicate of that shirt. Rimmer was anger. What do you think of Gary McKinnon and the secret space program? Solar Warden, Moonlife. Great question. Gary McKinnon is legit. Gary McKinnon is legit. He is the real deal. If only, and the reason I say that is because all of the circumstances around his story were like they pointed to him being the real deal. If you just look at the smoke, you can trace it back to where the fire is, and it's clear that he found something. So whatever when he says he found off-world ships with crew members' names and things that didn't make sense, and I believe that for the time that he was doing that in the early 90s when he was hacking NASA's computers, the internet was still, I mean, this was all still new enough that somebody at his level could easily get in. And I think he just ran a password. He just looked for computers that didn't have a password. That's all it was. And he was able to get in and find all kinds of crazy stuff. So Gary McKinnon's NASA hack story, I think, is the real deal. And they tried to do to him what they later wound up doing to Julian Assange. And you saw what they did to Julian Assange. And Edward Snowden, same thing. But Gary McKinnon was so early on in the game and the evolution of this new sort of police state that we're in now that I think he was able to slip through. And because he kind of didn't actually hack anything, he sort of just accessed unprotected computers. Yeah, that's a weird one because he found some crazy stuff. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like you can't look at Gary McKinnon's story and think there's no there. There's at least some truth to what's going on with that. And if any of it's true, then that's crazy. There's a secret space program. Well, CIA has a secret Air Force. Why wouldn't we have a secret space program? In fact, let me just go back to my main viewer here. Boop. Can I do this? Did it work? There we go. In fact, Not only does the CIA have their own special secret air force that John Lear worked for a while. A lot of pilots wind up working for him. There's no, I have no doubt that we've got assets already on the moon, military assets. Colonel Corso, Phil Corso, talked about this back in his book, The Day After Roswell. He said they were planning moon bases with small modular like nuclear reactors back in the 60s. They had this all worked out and they had figured out how to preserve food. They had it all. The army had a whole plan for putting bases on the moon. They were ready to go. And then in that story, that's kind of what he has to say about it. In another unrelated book, well, not unrelated, it is related, but in Ingo Swann's book, Ingo Swann, the very famous and the powerful and amazing and famous Ingo Swann, remote viewer, says that he makes the case in his book Penetration that the military was all set to go and set up these bases on the moon, and then they were sent back because there's something already there. And that's why you're not seeing a lot of we didn't really go back until very recently, and things have been kind of strange. I don't know the truth of it. I just know that there's a there. It seems very plausible to me. I don't understand what military on planet Earth, what superpower would not want to have a military base on the moon. That just seems obvious. It's right there. We can get there with technology from 50 years ago. Why wouldn't you? Unless there's someone already there. Great question. The disappearance of Flight 412. It's on my list. It's on my list for this week. I've still got it open in a browser, so I'm really excited to check out Disappearance of Flight 412. By the way, Skyhawk88, welcome. It was good to connect with you on email. Thanks for that film recommendation. Let's see. Who else do we have? Hey, man, loved your recent videos about Dan Burrish. S4, amazing stuff. There's an international agreement to not add military bases on the moon, similar to Antarctica. Tell that to the United States. You can't tell the United States anything. International agreements mean nothing. They mean nothing. Well, first of all, I don't think they mean anything. The international agreements only work downwards. They work towards less powerful countries. But like when you're at the top, like we don't give a shit. We'll build a base on the moon unless there's a real reason. There's someone already there that can send us back. Moon base Project Horizon 1959. Was that the name? Skyhawk? Was that Project Horizon? We'll come back to that. Let me bounce back to that. I'm going to go over to the website. Let's talk about website updates real quick. So the Night Shift website, by the way, if I lose audio at any point, please let me know. I'm watching the chat, so I know sometimes the audio cuts out on these. The Night Shift website, if you haven't already been there, please go there, check it out. I put a lot of time and effort into the Night Shift website, and I hope that you find it enjoyable when you go there. At the top left, here's our Night Shift Watchman logo. This is put together by Cole Watkins, the graphic designer behind the new and improved look, the Night Shift Global Media Empire brand. Watchman has a little flashlight out there investigating. I have this like fictional world built up around the Night Shift expanded universe. I call it the Night Shift expanded universe, where the Watchman is like a character, sort of like an archetype. Like the Watchman could be a security guard at Area 51, or the Watchman could be somebody working late on the night shift when nothing's supposed to be happening, but things do happen. Who sees it? The Night Watchman. So that's what this logo is all about. Episodes, research. This is going to expand soon. Episodes is just going to take you to all the recent episodes. There's Dan Burrish update, my interview with Brian Jackson, some recent episodes. If you go to research, there's a drop down. You'll go to recommended viewing. And recommended viewing is just clips and links to videos that have like something direct to add to the conversation around UFOs, UAPs, non-human intelligence, disclosure, consciousness, the larger picture, the bigger reality, and how it all kind of ties together. So this is just as I do my research for things that I'm trying to figure out or shows I'm doing. If I find stuff that I think is a good resource for the rest of you, I put it aside so that you can check it out. And some of this stuff has been recommended by community members and audience folks, and a lot of it is stuff that I've just found over the years. So I try to curate this as a sort of a playlist, a video playlist for you. And there's movies in here. There's this Philip K. Dick simulation theory speech, um, which you have got to watch. If you haven't seen it, you've got to watch it, especially now uh, with what's going on lately in the news. This is a huge thing. In fact, while we're on this, I'll pull this thread a little more. Um, so this, my joke this afternoon is like, it feels like we're living in a simulation for sure. Like I'm 99%. If I was like 75% convinced 2 weeks ago, I'm like 99% convinced now. After the Trump assassination attempt and what happened there. Now, I'll be clear right out of the gate. I don't like Trump. I don't like him as a human being. I don't think he's a cool person. I don't think he's qualified to command our nuclear arsenal. I don't think he has the temperament to lead the country. And I think that the challenges that we're facing right now are super, super dangerous. Like we're passing through a very narrow eye of the needle in history where if we thread this needle incorrectly or we miss it, um, it's extinction level shit for us. If we get it right and we have the right mindset going into what's coming with all this new technology and potential open contact in the near future, which I think there's a possibility of that actually happening. But if we get things right and we have the right mindset going into it, we could arrive on the other side of this paradigm shift in some kind of science fiction utopia. Maybe. My vision of that looks like Star Trek, The Next Generation, sort of. We've cured hunger, we've cured most disease, we've cured human suffering, we've turned our attention from useless consumerism and endless consumption to an endless military adventurism to just looking around and cleaning house, like cleaning the situation up, fixing our planet, fixing our solving our human issues. This humanist idea that Gene Roddenberry brought forward. That's the idea that I would like to see us get to. So all of that really boils down to the way it all connects back is that what we saw in the last few days with the Trump assassination attempt and that picture, the Trump fist that comes up, like I even made a graphic for it. Check it out. And then here we go. You need the American Gladiator music with this. Remember American Gladiators? So I don't like Trump at all. I don't think he's a cool person. I don't think he's a good human being. I think he's awful. But this shit is powerful. This is super powerful. Like as a person who's dabbled in advertising for most of my career, what you couldn't ask for a better. You couldn't ask for anything more. This is the perfect image. It's perfect for fundraising. It's like jet fuel into it's like adding jet fuel to the crazy Mad Max car with all the crazy Mad Max people, and we're just racing towards the edge of a cliff, and someone's just like pouring jet fuel into the engine. It's like fire. Remember that guy in Mad Max that's playing the guitar, and the truck is on fire and exploding, and he's like shooting flames out of his guitar like some kind of crazy Rammstein concert. That's what that picture is. And it's tough to see somebody that you don't want to see become president again. I don't want to go through another Trump administration. I visibly aged like 10 years in that 4-year period. And 8 of those 10 years that I aged were in the last like 36 hours at the very end. It's tough to see somebody that you don't want to see in the Oval Office again get. He's like, for one, he's like Godzilla. You can't kill this guy. Like whatever you throw at him makes him stronger. You shoot him with radiation and he just becomes stronger. He gets bigger. He's like that thing in The Fifth Element. They fire a rocket into him and he just like expands and he gets bigger. And it's like, what the fuck? This guy is coming back again. and he's going to run this country again. And you just have to accept that if the Democrats don't do something insane at this point, they would have to do something crazy, which they're not going to do. They would have to do something absolutely crazy to beat Trump at this point. And it's tough to look at the situation and realize, like, we all see which way the wind is blowing. Like, clearly, Democrats are going to lose this. There's no way that there's no way. You know what the Democrats would do to screw it up? They would just roll Hillary out again. That's what they would probably do. I don't want to get like too deep into that whole rigmarole, but like, I don't believe Biden is qualified to command a nuclear arsenal either. So, the bigger picture, if you step back from all of it, is like the events of the last week are astonishing, and the fact that that picture comes out of it, like he goes down, he gets up, he realizes, you see the look on his face, like he realizes in this moment, he's like, oh shit, everyone in the world is going to see this. I'm going to put my fist up in the air, and then he starts going fight, fight, fight. That whole fight, fight, fight thing, that's amazing. He's a marketing genius. So it's tough to look at the situation and realize, like, oh shit, we're going to go through this again. I don't know how that connects back to UFOs, but it connects to like the safety and security of everybody on planet Earth. I don't think he's got the mental bandwidth. I don't want him or Biden being woken up at 3:00 in the morning with a 6-minute window to make a decision to launch our entire nuclear arsenal at an adversary. That's just the situation I never, ever want to be in. And I feel like that could happen. I feel like it's a dangerously high chance of that happening in the next few years. So stepping back from the whole thing, I just think, if it feels to you like we have jumped a timeline, or like you've shifted into the weird timeline where everything's just going fucking haywire now, you may have. You may have. It feels that way to me. Can't prove it. But if you were to go back and look at, can I do this? Commentary view. Let's go back to, where's my, turn that off. This is a slide. This is the wrong slide, but let me do this. I'm going to bring this back to UFOs. You're going to see. I'm going to tie Trump to UFOs again. This is a slide from the presentation that Brian Jackson gave on our most recent episode. And this is from his presentation that he's put together on Dan Burrish. And can I do this? How can I make this a little better? Rotate view, page view, read mode. Hey, there we go. Timeline 1, variation 83. So apparently, according to, here, I'll turn off my camera here. Let's do this. If you buy into the Dan Burrish story, which I understand a lot of people are on the fence, I believe there is some kind of there. But if you go back and watch his interviews and you look at the presentation that Brian put together, there's mention of this device that they use to see alternate timelines. And then I think my understanding is the idea is that they can basically look at the present moment is the moment from which all future moments are going to branch off. So all future possibilities are open. And then we basically collapse those probabilities into events that take place and that we experience. And according to Dan Burrish's story, they have the technology to see alternate timelines, but as I understand it, the technology doesn't show a perfect picture of like, oh, this is the timeline where everything goes right, and this is the timeline where everything goes wrong. It's a lot more gray area than that. It's like, this is the timeline where so-and-so gets elected. This is the timeline where so-and-so does not get elected. And I think at timeline 1, variation 83, according to this slide, it says in the summer of 2007, Dan was inducted into a classified intelligence project for 6 months that required him to be cut off from all friends and family. Finally, in December, he meets with Kerry Cassidy and Bill Ryan, where he spoke for 5 hours explaining that the project involved looking glass. This is the future technology to see the probable futures. This device allowed the seeing of probable future events. The project goal was to conclude which future event was most likely to occur. Timeline 1, variation 83, T1 V83, was concluded to be the most likely. It foretold the election of Hillary Clinton to be president, a large financial crash, and other events that Ryan wrote in detail immediately after the meeting. Dan explained, however, that international leadership used Looking Glass as a means of following a script towards nudging alternative future events by acting in advance against its outcome. So my understanding is that they can see events ahead of time, and then you can basically like create another event that puts you in an alternate timeline. So you're in the timeline where whatever you did actually happened. So there's a way that they use it to sort of steer. I don't know what to make of it, if it's true or not, but it feels sometimes, especially since like, I hate to say 2012 because we all know 2012 is that's a whole weird thing. But kind of like back in 2012 when things started to feel a little weirder. Did anyone else notice that? Um, this whole Mandela effect thing. Some people have mentioned the Mandela effect in relationship to the Project Looking Glass. They suggested in the comments, could the Mandela effect be some form of weirdness that we experience because we have shifted timelines, and the shift is enough to put you in an alternate timeline where just a few things are different, or just slightly, and then like the big events happen and we don't know the difference. As far as we're concerned, that's the only timeline we've been in, but we actually were shifted into another timeline. I think that's an interesting hypothesis. I don't know, what do you think? Let's check the comments. Producer Brandon, hey, gotta run. Been working on some big stuff on behalf of the community. Great work. Well, thanks, Producer Brandon. Who else? Let's see. Poor management. You're on the right path. Elon Musk. Starlink. We're going to get to Elon in just a second. Blah, blah, blah. Greetings from Ireland. Hey, Ireland. Mike. Mike O. Be cool to get a full timeline. Yeah, I'm the jury's out for me on Project Looking Glass. I think that it's possible. I think at this point, I think anything's possible. I'm kind of like at that point where things are just crazy enough that I'm like, all right, could be, could be. But time will tell. Okay, back to the website. So just to wrap this up, if you go to the website and by the way, so timeline 1 variation 83, Philip K. Dick in this speech, it's called if you think this world is bad, you should see some of the others. It's also known as his notorious Metz speech, METZ. You can go to the website and you can click on this and watch it. In this video, Philip K. Dick, science fiction writer, amazing mind, amazing author, futurist, and just a fantastic speaker. He gives it's an honest speech. He's not like presenting a hypothetical story idea. He's actually talking to a room full of people and he's saying, I am convinced that I have experienced alternate timelines. So Philip K. Dick is telling you that he believes that he has experienced alternate timelines, and he's experienced he's had experiences that have led him to conclude that he has shifted from one timeline to another. He's actually been able to like move through the various like harmonics of alternate timelines. And his inspiration for the story, The Man in the High Castle, where the Axis wins World War II, and it takes place in 1960s, like New York and California, where the Germans have taken the East Coast of the United States, the Japanese have taken the West Coast of the United States, and there's this whole Hitler's still alive, and there's this whole power struggle going on. Dick says that he actually has memories of experiencing that timeline. And so he presents his case in this speech, and he explains why, like what to look for and things that you can sort of see an experience that will clue you in when something has changed. And he goes really deep into it. It's an amazing interview. You should watch it. So that's research. If you go to merch, though, this is the reason we're here. Merch. We have merch. And I worked really hard on this merch. Cole Watkins did some awesome designs for us. He's a fan of the show. Awesome graphic designer. Cool friend. Cool guy. Support him. You can scroll down to the bottom of the merch page. If you like the Night Shift logo, if you like the look, if you like the cool style, like what we've got going on here, you got to talk to Cole Watkins. If you need a graphic designer, just go down here, hit contact. You can check out his portfolio and some of his other shirt designs, which are all awesome. They're very heavily influenced by 80s science fiction movie nostalgia. And he's just super cool. We're working on some other ideas to add some new things to the store, but Cole Watkins is the designer behind this. You can go to the website, the Night Shift Watchman t-shirt. The main logo, the actual Watchman logo, if you click this is free shipping on this shirt. And it's awesome. I'm wearing mine right now. Let me see if I can stand up a little bit. You can see. Got mine on. It's awesome. This one's been through the wash like a dozen times now and still looks great. The print is awesome. The text is really crisp. The edges are really crisp. The logo looks super cool. It's a little fitted. These shirts are a little more fitted. So if you want a looser fit, you can size up a little bit. I might switch to a more relaxed fit depending on the feedback that I get. But free shipping on these shirts. So if you want to check them out, please do. Navy blue, sort of this navy color, black and gray. Here you go. So just for fun, just to test this out, we'll go, we'll throw a black large into the cart. And we'll go back to merch. And that logo is available on the Racerback tanks, the muscle tanks, and the mug. There was let's add a mug in there. The mugs come in 15 ounce and 11 ounce. Add a mug. And my favorite, which by the way, I have the mug. There's one of the new mugs. There you go. You can kind of see. The logo is on both sides. There we go. Look at that. And it looks super cool. They say that these are not dishwasher safe, but mine's gone through the dishwasher about a dozen times, and so far, so good. No complaints. We've got decals. The vinyl decals are here. They look awesome. Really, really good. I have a bright light that's up here, so some of the yellow looks a little washed out, but here, let's see if I can tune that. Here we go. This is a 3x3 logo. And if you want a size comparison, this is the 4x4. We also have a 5.5 by 5.5 if you want to go super big. So this one's good for a laptop. This one's good for your car. And then there's a bigger one. So if you want to support the show, you want to help me out, you want to show people that you're cool and you're hip and you know what's up and you like Night Shift, get yourself a t-shirt, get a logo decal, get a mug, take it to work. And we even have kids stuff too, and totes. So some cool things. I have hats coming. We're working on that. We're working on a new version of the logo that's got, to do hats, I have to embroider them. So it's a whole different process. We have to work on that a little bit. So that's the website. We also have the Reddit group is up and running. This is Team Night Shift on Reddit. So if you next time you're on Reddit, go over to r/Team Night Shift and check it out. We're trying to grow the community over here on Reddit. Some cool stuff in here, a little more conversation. Okay, let's talk about news. Elon Musk says reports he will donate $45 million a month to pro-Trump super PAC are fake news. According to the Wall Street Journal, he's full of shit, and they stand by their reporting. So right now, this is another example of Elon doing the same thing that Trump does. They float something out there, and then they wait to see how it lands, and then they decide if they're going to deny it or pull it back, or if they're going to double down. Am I the only one who is just like, fuck this guy? I'm sorry. Like today, I'm using a lot of F bombs, but sometimes you got to just relax the language a little bit, right? You just have to. Like, fuck this guy. Who are you? I used to like Elon. I did. When he was like when Tesla was a new company and it was innovative and things were happening and it was starting to grow and Elon hadn't really turned into a psychopath. But this speaks to me to a larger problem in our society, which is this like billionaire hero worship, where we have Musk turbocharges Silicon Valley for Trump, basically creating this super PAC funded by Silicon Valley billionaires. Are we comfortable with the idea of a handful of billionaires owning our whole political system outright, so much so that they are just openly, like brazenly out in public about it and they don't even care to hide it anymore? Because that's where we're at. And I'm not okay with that. I don't understand where this, I mean, I know where it comes from, but these billionaires, they won't stop. They won't stop. They want to live forever. They want to have everything. There's like, you fucking won, guys. Like, you won. You win the Monopoly game. You win. Can we just have healthcare? Can we have some like real basic stuff? We should all be nervous about the alignment of power between Silicon Valley and a presidential candidate that is openly displaying fascist behavior and tendencies. That's a huge, huge problem. Elon Musk by himself owns the largest satellite network in the world. He's already deciding the outcome of wars based on what people can use Starlink satellites. In Ukraine, this is actually a real thing. They have to pay for their subscription to Starlink to be able to defend their country. So we're literally letting billionaires decide who wins wars now. We've got Bill Gates over here on the other side. I don't have this article available, but he's openly looking into cloud dimming or solar dimming, geoengineering the planet. To ameliorate a lot of the crazy damage being caused by climate change. And so they basically want to reduce the amount of solar radiation that makes it through to the surface so that we can cool the planet. I've got a better idea. Why don't we just change our planet, change our whole society so that we're not destroying it? That might be a better place to start. And I've got news for you. This is just in general. The climate change situation, the reason I keep harping on it is because it is so much worse than they are telling you. You just don't understand how much worse it is. Like it's always the hottest it's ever going to be. Like every single year now, every single month is hotter than the last. If you aren't noticing the weather change, like I'm 43 years old. I'm old enough to remember in my lifetime watching the weather completely go haywire. And you can see it with the naked eye now. You don't even have to like pretend. It's right there in front of you. Like the weather around the world is Old Testament, biblical, crazy weather. And our entire society is built for a planet that no longer exists. And they found this out during COVID. They actually found this out during 9/11. Was when 9/11 when they grounded all the flights, and then again during COVID when they no one was traveling. And the particulate pollution in the atmosphere settled down and the temperature went up because it's this paradox. The air is so polluted, it's preventing a lot of sunlight from getting down to the earth. But as we clean up our industrial processes and we get away from fossil fuels, the air becomes cleaner. And guess what? It's called the dimming effect, the atmospheric dimming effect. More light gets through and it causes more rapid heating. So we have to figure out how to put an umbrella over the planet, like in Highlander 2, which I think is better than it holds up It holds up. Highlander 2, the Shield Corporation, um, blocking the sun, and Bill Gates wants to decide where that money goes and make that happen. We've put our fate in the hands of a few rich guys that want to own everything. And I'm not okay with that. I'm really not. I think we need to tax these motherfuckers out of billionaire status. I don't think billionaires should exist. That's the end of my rant. I'm moving on. All right. Let's check the chat again. Elon Musk, Vance's wife's family in India, physics, research, lots of data. Modi, Putin, ping. It's not sustainable. I would argue that they always have. It's just the internet shows you now. Well, there's always been. So look, there's always been rich people. I don't even have a problem with rich people. I don't have a problem with you having a shitload of money. I think that's fine. I think we should still be able to like accumulate wealth to some degree. I just think that there's a point where it obviously becomes ridiculous. And I think that Elon Musk levels of wealth are ridiculous. It's like sooner or later, we're going to have to all look around at ourselves, at each other, look at them. This is the 1%, the 1% of the 1%. It's such a small fraction of people. And we're going to have to decide if we want them to be in charge because they own everything. And we're either going to have to take it back, like really take it, like through taxes and policy and actually government policy. You have to put our power back in the hands of the actual governments to go after these people. Because guess what? They have no power. It's the billionaires own all of it. BlackRock as a bank, as an investment institution, owns like 80% of everything. It's insane. He could dedicate himself to SpaceX and help us get off planet, but nope, it has to be a complete. Yeah, and this is the other problem with Elon. I get that being rich doesn't make you a genius, and Elon isn't a genius because he's rich. He employs thousands of very brilliant people and he gets them onto a project, but then he sticks around and he keeps messing with it and he won't move on to the next thing. And he's kept moving on to the next thing he's got SpaceX and Twitter and Tesla, and everything is suffering because he's not focused on one thing. But the next 100 years, the space race of the next century is going to be colonizing the rest of the planets in the solar system, mining them for resources, mining the asteroid belt, figuring out how to bring resources back. Like the action is out there, and it's going to be like 4 guys who own all of it, like Elon, Jeff Bezos, and 1 or 2 others maybe. And if you want to, are we going to let Elon Musk be the guy who owns the Mars colony? What happens when he gets annoyed? What happens if the Mars colony decides they don't want to be run by Elon Musk anymore? Like what? Does he just shut them off and stop sending food? These people think they're gods. They truly do. Chris Hedges is a author that I really like, and he calls it the pathology of the rich. The pathology of the rich. It's a mental disease. It's a mental disorder. They live in a place, according to Chris Hedges, he calls it Richistan, where they are protected in a bubble, a warm, soft bubble of yes men and sycophants and servants, and everything is perfect for them, and they don't experience reality the way that we experience it. They don't experience it the way you and I do. And they're in that world making decisions from a faulty place that doesn't exist. There's a great scene. I wish I had it pulled up. I don't. I have something else that's very fun pulled up. There's a great scene in Star Trek Deep Space Nine where Captain Sisko talks about this. And if anybody can remember the episode, I'll watch the chat. Please shout this episode out. But he talks about the Federation, the United Federation of Planets. And he says, on Earth, it's paradise. If you go to Earth, it's paradise. We've solved all the problems. It's a perfect world. It's always 72 degrees. Everything is perfect. But when you leave Earth and you go out into space and you go to some of these other colonies, it's like dog eat dog, and it's night and day. It's a hard Scrabble existence, and the Federation command back on Earth, Starfleet command, doesn't understand that. They don't understand what it's like out on the fringe. And he's talking about this, and it made me think about where we're at, where you have billionaires like Musk, and I don't know if Trump is even still a billionaire, but people like that, Bill Gates, making decisions, but they don't live in the real world, and they are playing games with our lives. Whatever the paradigm that we're in now, when we shift paradigms, we like, that's one of the things that has to go. This idea that that's okay, that's got to go. It has no future. I mean, look at where we're at right now. We're in a world of ubiquitous 24/7, 365 surveillance. You're always on camera. You're always being recorded. Everything about you is known, all the way down to the heart rate and the uh, uh, your galvanic skin response when your child says their first word or takes their first step, or when you sleep with your significant other or whatever. Like, if you've got a smartwatch on, like, they fucking know. They know what your favorite song is. They know what happens to your heartbeat when you listen to it. They understand the psychology behind every decision you've ever made. There's a great book by Shoshana Zuboff called I think it's Life in the Age of Surveillance Capitalism. She calls it surveillance capitalism. Capitalism that operates like a police state, where they've basically weaponized your credit score against you. They've weaponized the game against you, and you're forced into this sort of death battle where you have to either survive in a rigged game by being ruthless or die. And if you play the game that you're in, you basically are always just bleeding money out to subscriptions and things that go nowhere. And you've been neutered or muzzled as a citizen. Your voice is almost insignificant because they have so much data on all of us now. They can sway entire elections with the push of a button, supercharged by artificial intelligence now that is so powerful that in the next 10 years, not even 5, look at how good it's gotten in the last 5 years. Think 5 years ahead. If you think the world of the very near future is going to be a nice place to live in, I have news for you. Like, all of us, if you're an artist, you're already feeling it, the effects of AI on your work. If you're a freelance artist, I'm a freelance artist. It's completely changed everything about how I have worked for the first half of my career. And they're going to, like, for example, I'm a photographer, but you can go and do a text to photo AI render of something that is more amazing than any photograph that you could take. And you can sit there and create an unlimited amount of them forever. So the value of photography has completely changed, and the whole value proposition around it. What is it going to mean when that happens to every job? Attorneys, lawyers, like, sorry, all the legal staff that support a law firm, that's going to go down to like 2 people and an AI. What was the company that just this last week announced that they make the iPhones? What are they called? What's the company where everybody jumps off the building and commits suicide? That was their big problem. Their employees were so miserable, they would kill themselves. They opened their first factory that has no employees, and they can make one iPhone a minute. Is it one iPhone? No, one iPhone a second. I forget what it was, but it's some amazing number. What happens when all manufacturing is completely automated and they have no use for you anymore? That's the problem. They're not going to have any use for you. You'll have no power. The last century, we had power through labor unions, and we had means of sort of flexing consumer muscle and voting with your wallet. But at a certain point, like, the system just divorces itself from the needs of the consumer, and it becomes this like completely vertically integrated system with one billionaire at the top or one trillionaire at the very top. And everything is done by robotics and artificial intelligence. And you and I have no say in the matter. And if we get to that point, there's no way to claw back power. How are you going to do it? You can't do it politically. They'll put you in some kind of mental prison where everything you see is curated by an algorithm to just keep you I mean, that's where we already are. distracted, aloof, or you couldn't take it back by force because they own all the force. So what are you going to do? Politically, Joe Biden, really? Donald Trump, this is the best we have? This is the best we've got. This is the best we can do in this situation. It's a failure of leadership. It's a failure of imagination. Our society is at a point where we just don't have time for this. We can't bullshit around with these problems anymore. We cannot wait. We have to shut down the global system that consumes the natural environment and spits out iPhones and forever chemicals and microplastics. And we have to turn it all off. And we have to start pulling carbon out of the air. We have terraformed the planet into an unrecognizable state, and no one knows where it goes from here, but it's not good. And it's happening faster than they've predicted. That is the trend that you should be paying attention to. Is every year the worst case predictions that they've made in the prior years are turning out to be not bad enough. And we're exceeding our worst expectations year after year after year after year. Well, what happens 10, 15, 25 years from now? If you have a kid like I do that's like 3 years old, what's the world going to look like when they're 33 years old? The decisions that are going to inform that world, that are going to get us to whatever that is, have to be made today, or should have been made 30 years ago or 40 years ago. And look at where we are. So, yeah, it's effed up. I do use AI in my own work. I've had to incorporate it, and it has made me way more productive. And I do think there are positive uses for AI. But my issue with AI as an artist is this. Here's the problem with AI. My problem with AI. One, it's trained on the artwork of everyone, and no one is being compensated for their contributions to that, which we'll get to in a second, because there's a way to compensate everybody. But no one's been compensated, and these companies own their algorithms, so they own whatever they get from that, like however they monetize it. They own all that. And two, an AI doesn't have a lived experience. It's not contained inside of a limited body. It doesn't feel pain. It doesn't feel pity. It doesn't feel sadness. It doesn't feel a sense of loss when someone passes away. There's no stakes. That's what makes art powerful, right? Like, it's what connects us as human beings. This is why I could never, as an artist, I was never able to really do it in a straight job. I just couldn't do it. I always had to pursue something creative because you feel this need to connect with other people in some way creatively. And that binds us together. It's one of the few things we have left that really binds us together. And AI generated art is just a perfect fake. It's a perfect fakery. It's a fakery. It's a counterfeit version of a world that never existed, and it's going to be fire hosed into your eyes for the rest of your life. Take that, combine it with these powerful analytical tools and the data sets that they have on all of us. Read Shoshana Zuboff's book on surveillance capitalism. Read Chris Hedges. Go on YouTube, type in Chris Hedges Pathology of the Rich. Watch his speech on that. It's crazy. So when they combine all these tools together and aim them at you, how do we survive that? How do we withstand that? How do we even maintain? What's important to us? Checking the chat here. Mind control of the masses via Starlink. I think it's mind control of the masses via technology that's very easy to understand. You know, they know everything about you. They know everything you've ever done on the internet, your birth records, they know who your friends are, your social networks. They know the decisions you made. They know what you like before you like it. They know what you're going to buy before you even see it. They know so much about you that they can show different people the same product at different prices, and they know which people will pay a little more and which people will pay a little less, or which people can afford to pay a little bit more. And when you buy things online, a lot of times what you're buying, people aren't even paying the same price for things. You're in your own private Idaho, your own private little world. The foreboding, Clint, just want to say that what you're doing is top-notch work. Thank you, foreboding. Keep being yourself and chasing your fascination for the subject as you do. I will. Thank you. There's a Greek economist by the name of Yanis Varoufakis. Yanis Varoufakis has a idea called the universal basic dividend. It's different than a universal basic income. Right now, the talk is about a universal basic income. The idea being that at a certain point, people will be no longer necessary to sustain our economy. It'll be almost entirely automated. If it's not entirely automated, 85% automated. But there won't be enough jobs for enough people to like sustain the standard of living anymore. And it's not that high to begin with. So people will need some new way of having revenue or money coming income so that they can buy things and keep the system going. Universal basic income is a way to address that issue in basically giving everybody a check every month, like free of no strings attached. Here's the problem with universal basic income. Universal basic income, if and when they ever do it, would roll out like this. It'll only be a digital currency. It will be the excuse they use to put forth a fully digital currency. The American dollar or some form of global currency. I'm not like anti-global society. I think we're moving I think we have to become a global society to get to the future. I think 100 years from now, we will just be one planet. I believe in planet Earth, and I believe in us as people on planet Earth to get together and make good decisions and get to a positive outcome for humanity and that doesn't destroy the natural world. But when this problem reaches a point of absolute critical mass, the solution is obvious. It's going to be a digital currency that they're going to roll out, and they'll say, look, everybody gets a deposit every month. You get like $5,000 a month or whatever, put in your account. You can do whatever you want with it, which is going to sound great until they turn it off. And they will own it, and they'll own you. And when they own you, it's over. And we already see what that's like in America without healthcare, where your healthcare is tied to your employer. Your employer owns you. Don't believe me? Try telling your employer anything. Try doing something they don't like. You ever work for a boss that's like, I want someone to challenge me. I want you to challenge me. And then you challenge them, and 2 weeks later, you're training your replacement. That's where we are right now. We're in the point where they bring in a new guy and they're like, this is Larry. Larry's just hanging around. He's just observing. He's taking some notes. God forbid anything ever happens to you. I just need somebody else who knows how to do what you do. And that feeling you get, that sinking feeling inside where you're like, oh, fuck, Larry's going to take my job. Well, yes. And right now, Larry is AI. That's who they're bringing in. And on the other side of this, you're just unemployed without health care. And the fear, the terror that puts into people. I've watched it. I've watched it happen to people in my own family. Your entire life is turned inside out and upside down because somebody gets sick. You get sick and you have to go to the doctor. I had to go to the hospital a few weeks ago for something, and I wound up in the ER, and I'm still getting bills for an ambulance ride to a hospital that is so close I could walk there. These are not small bills. And so Christopher Hovard gifted 10 night shift memberships? Wow. Hey, cool, man. How do can I do something with this in the chat? Can I make your chat like blow up with fireworks or something? It's amazing. So yeah, on the other end of this thing, where we come out the other side with a UBI, it ends in them owning your ass. And you just need to get real about that now, because that's what's coming. That's what's coming. They don't care about you. Billionaires don't care about you. You don't exist. You don't exist to them. You're not real people. I don't care how nice they are. They live in a fake world. They live in a world that's not real. They live in a world where you can go look at the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. Go look at the guest list. These people run in a tight group, and they will get on a plane in Los Angeles they'll have breakfast in LA and they'll have lunch in Paris, and they don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about the environmental, their fucking carbon footprint. That's your job to care about your carbon footprint. You're the one who's supposed to be recycling all your trash and sorting your garbage and doing all this shit. These billionaires, this is a class war. This is not Republicans, Democrats. This isn't red versus blue. This isn't like, oh, abortion this or whatever. This is a class war. That is where we are. You are in a class war and you are getting your ass kicked. You, me, and all of us. They own us. It's not okay. It's not cool. And you shouldn't be okay with it. You should feel uncomfortable about it. And you should be pissed off, especially when you see Elon Musk swinging around his big dick money like he's going to go throw $45 million a month at a presidential candidate. I don't even care what candidate it is. You know what he wants? He wants Donald Trump to come back onto Twitter, and I'm going to call it Twitter because that's what it is. And he wants to juice the company because he knows that Trump is going to be a fire hose of crazy shit. And he knows that if he can just get him in his back pocket, it's going to make his stock go up. It's going to make the value of the company explode. It's going to make everything he's doing. He's going to get a green light from the Trump administration on all the shit that he wants to do. It's sad. There's read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Perkins is the name of the author. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. That book will change your world. It's going to show you. This is written by a guy, Roger Perkins. I forget what his first name is, but Perkins. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Look it up. You can find him on YouTube doing this. He does a presentation. He talks about it. He was recruited as a young man into a company that was like a shell company and basically made up of really smart, good-looking people. Think like, your top 1% out of take your pick of whatever college, Harvard, Yale, Ivy League people, cream of the crop. They come in, they get this badass paycheck, this amazing job. And their job is to basically fly around the world and shake hands with leaders. And they sit them down and they go, look, I'll make a deal with you. Congratulations on becoming president of whatever, Peru. That's really great for you. You've accomplished a lot. If you will stick with me for the next couple of years, I'll see to it that you get everything that you want. And if you don't, I'll see to it that you die in a plane crash. And that's who those people are. They call them economic hitmen. And if that doesn't work, they have other means and techniques that they use to get what they want. And if that doesn't work, they send in the Marines and they get what they want. And this is a corporate group. These are people that are hired by corporations to go around the world and make these fucked up deals with countries where they come in and they take all their natural resources. They get all the oil. The money never goes to the people. It never helps them. So yeah, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. When you get a chance, read that. Christopher, you are a legend. Thank you. You guys are awesome. You guys are so cool. Ever thought of running for office? Well, no, I don't. The only way to affect change is to take control. You got to take control, but how you take control is a mystery to me. I don't know. I'm not trying to lead a movement. I'm just trying to get people fired up and talking about it because we have to talk about it. I mean, what else are you going to do? Sit around and look at your phone in a high anxiety state all the time? That's what I did during the entire Trump administration. I just sat there every morning. I wake up 3:13 in the morning or whatever. Can't sleep, insomnia. You have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Every day is crazier than the next. And then you just go and you're looking on your phone and you're just constantly freaking out. You're like, what is this guy going to do? What's he going to do next? And then at the very end, there's overthrowing the government. There's a coup d'etat playing out on television. We're watching it. And it's like, they're going after these people. I get it. I understand that we're pissed. We're all pissed. But we need to be pissed at the right people. The ownership class, the billionaire class, the 1%. You know why they shut down the Occupy Wall Street protests? Remember the Occupy Wall Street movement? Remember that? You know why it was on Wall Street and not Washington, D.C.? Because Occupy understood something that no one else really got. The real power is on Wall Street. You see it. You go to New York, go to Wall Street. You feel it. It's all around you. The real power comes from there. And it flows to DC. That's why the revolving door works the way that it works. That's why the defense contractors, the defense military industrial complex is able to get legislation pulled when they don't like it, like the Schumer Amendment, the Disclosure Amendment. That happens. Banana Republic. That's where it came from. The Dole, was it Dole? Who was the fruit company that went in and basically took over? China has bought up mining rights for cobalt and other rare minerals in Africa. You and me are on the same wavelength, sir. I will be tuning in every chance I get. Well, thank you, Mike. That is good to know. You're a good human being and a citizen of Earth. We need to adopt a global mindset. We need to adopt a global concept of humanity. We need to agree that we all are human beings. We all feel pain. We all feel sadness when shit happens. We don't, we want the best for ourselves and other people. We're not, humans aren't inherently bad. We're inherently cooperative and we're inherently helpful and kind. There's this idea that it's like the human zoo out there, but I think we're capable of better decisions and a better future. We have to be able to visualize it first. And the only way that happens is if we talk about it. So I'm going to wrap up with this. The idea and all of that shit I just said was really leading up to this. Yanis Varoufakis, the Greek economist who was their finance minister, I believe, for a period of time, has this idea of a universal basic dividend. Here's how it works. We make a decision, all of us, that as the economy becomes more and more and more automated and run more and more by artificial intelligence, there will be a point at some time in the future, 25 years, 50 years, maybe it's 60 years, I don't know, but let's just say within 100 years, which is one lifetime, where the economy detaches from the worker. And the worker class no longer has anything to add to the conversation. And we are going to be completely consumers. And we'll be given our money by the government in form of universal basic income. Universal basic dividend says we make a decision and we say we're going to create a trust, a global trust. And we're going to take ownership shares of all corporations in the world, and a percentage of those shares every year will be put into that trust. So 10%. And then maybe 2 years later, another 10%. And then maybe 5 years later, another 10%. And eventually you get to a point where 100% of all these corporations are owned by the commons. They're owned by this trust. And each person, every single person, gets a check or gets paid out a dividend for being alive, for being a human. You're on planet Earth. You won. We made it. We got through the singularity. We made it to the other side. We have a fully automated global super economy powered by artificial intelligence and run by robots. It's the end of the video game, and we all own a piece of it. At the end of that process, according to Yanis Varoufakis, everybody owns shares of this trust. And so you own a piece of the action. You're not given an income from some billionaire who is like what does the Louis C.K. say? But a little purse full of gold coins, like a nobleman on a horse, like, ugh, and here you go, throwing you your universal basic fake money bullshit that they make up in a computer anyway. What you want is ownership. You need to own shares of this stuff. We need a piece of the action. You need it to be legally enforceable. That's what we should be talking about. That's the kind of mindset we have to have going forward. We need to take it back. We need to put it into some kind of form, some kind of structure where we could actually have a little piece of the action. Russia's the breadbasket. After the breadbasket of Europe, they've got U.S. cowboys in eastern Russia training cattle wranglers for the world's largest cattle producer. Ooh. Too bad you had to bring politics into this discussion. I come here to get away from politics. Too bad. Goodbye, all. Well, look, I'm sorry if this bothers you, and I'm sorry that if the political situation, I'm not here to do politics for you guys. I don't care. I'm really not here to speak to my audience and tell them what they want to hear. I'm here to just do this. That's why this is an art project for me. I'm not here to make you feel good about Donald Trump. I'm not here to make you feel good about Joe Biden. I could care less. I really could. This is what's on my mind. This is my channel. This is the stuff that I'm thinking about. If you're on board, cool. Join me. It's a party. You're all invited. Welcome. We can all hang out and talk about it. If you're not on board, that's fine. I don't care. But anybody who's like, hey, man, you got to, I don't like politics. Don't talk about it. Well, guess what? Politics has an impact on every last single one of us. And it's important that we take that fact on board and really get serious about it, because you are in a class war and you're getting your ass kicked. And that's just the facts. Can't win them all. I know. Can't win them all. So anyway, I got fired up on this one. I'm going to leave it there. Yanis Varoufakis. Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more thing that's fun, and I want to end it on maybe a little more interesting note. So I had a number of people reach out to me about, I've mentioned Stargate, the show, the movie Stargate, and the show Stargate SG-1, the spinoff, a lot. And I think Stargate was used as a form of soft disclosure during its run. And there is a great clip that I want to show you all. And I don't know if I'm going to get dinged for this. So we'll try it, though. Somebody sent me a clip, and it is about freedom of the press. And it is from an episode of Stargate where basically they have some documentarians who are like sort of following the Stargate team around and trying to like document what they do. I want to show you this clip because this actually really speaks to where we're at, and I think it's important. And I think it's one of a really great monologue that comes out of, people give Stargate a lot of trouble, or like they give it, they criticize it because it's kind of corny and cheesy, and it is, but it's got a lot of heart. The world building is amazing. And when they do say stuff that comes out, turns out later to be part of the UFO UAP narrative, it's really weird. And if you go back and watch enough episodes of it, you'll find that there's a lot of little Easter eggs in there that we're hearing now, like from people like Jim Semivan and people like Gary Nolan and people like Lou Elizondo. There is a connection there. I'm convinced. So I'm going to show you actually two clips, and then I've got to wrap it up. So let me see if I can do this. Let's go back to commentary view. Okay. So this is a clip. It's 1 minute and 39 seconds long. And let's see. Is this going to play? Hopefully it will. Check it out. I just think this is a great clip.
In future, sir, could you leave the camera work to me?
Yeah, all right, leave it to you. All right, I'm going to leave it to you. Here she comes. Turn it on. Let's go. Don't look at him. We're clear to shoot here. Just follow me. And bring the sail. Major, what happened?
Please.
No, I know that at least one person was injured back there. All I want to say...
Leave me alone and shut that damn thing off!
No, I just want to say how sorry I am. Why is that camera off? You don't know what you're doing here? Maybe I know what I'm doing here. These people are risking their lives for us. I want to see what they're going through, even if they don't want us to. And I want other people to see it. What do you think they're doing out there? Protecting and defending? Secrecy? That's a world of Mao, the world of Stalin, the world of secret police, secret trials, secret deaths. You force the press into the cold, and all you will get is lies and innuendo. And nothing is worse for a free society than a press that is in service to the military and the politicians. Nothing. You turn that camera off when I tell you to turn it off. You think I give a damn what you think about me? You serve the people? So do I.
Great monologue. Great scene. Really good. So that's one thing that I really like. Somebody sent me that and they said, this kind of is a little bit on the nose. So there was an episode called Wormhole Extreme where they kind of teased the idea that they actually were doing some soft disclosure, and they did it in a really clever way. I'm going to show you this clip. It's about 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. I hope that they don't come after me for this. They might demonetize this video, but I don't care. Let's do it.
Prepare for an extreme adventure.
is worth it, so stick with it.
Four
Going somewhere.
excellent heroes in an extraordinary new sci-fi series, starring Nick Marlowe as the Rye, Colonel Danning.
As a matter of fact, it does say Colonel on my uniform. Hey, it's what I do.
Yolanda Reese as the brilliant Major Stacy Monroe.
The positronic field emitters are offline, but I can compensate by generating a feedback loop.
Raymond Gunn as Dr. Levant.
Damn it, Colonel, just because they're aliens and their skulls are transparent doesn't mean that they don't have rights.
And introducing Douglas Anders as Grell, the robot. Wormhole Extreme, coming this fall only on...
Well, that looked familiar.
I don't see it.
Martin's involved in this?
He sold the idea to the studio. He is currently working on the production as a creative consultant.
Then Martin Lloyd has seriously breached your security.
Not necessarily.
What? He obviously got the whole thing from his knowledge of the Stargate program.
Now, if the Air Force didn't want it to happen, they wouldn't have let it go this far.
Plausible deniability. In the event of a future breach of security, we'll be able to point to this television as if it stays on the air.
Still doesn't change the fact that Marty sold us out.
His motivation.
So, yeah, what do you think? Was Stargate a soft disclosure? Could be. There's a lot of stuff in there. That show was on the air for a long time. They're supposedly rebooting it too. I think they're rebooting it. That's what I heard. Okay. All right, gang. I have to wrap it here and change gears for the rest of the day. So I'm gonna jump off. Just one last look at the chat here. I think this scene was intentionally aimed at our politicians. I love Stargate, but for reasons best known to my feet, never started watching SG-1. I'm going to give it a go. Danny Sheehan tell Patrick he thinks that the best ticket would be Kamala for president and Barack. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a political channel. I just think that, like, sometimes you have to talk about stuff the way it is. You have to be honest, and you just have to look around and call it like it is. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm really not trying to, like, turn this from UFOs into politics. I don't want to go there. I want to stay on UFOs. I think that's way more interesting. It's more fun. But sometimes, like, when you see news like this, you just have to respond to it. And this is my response. So I will limit the political talk on the channel as much as I can. But occasionally, when I think it's necessary, I'm going to talk about it because I think it's important. So we're going to wrap it there. Christopher, thank you so much. What an amazing gift. 10 night shift memberships. That's amazing. You are awesome. You are a hero. You are part of the Night Shift Army, which is an army of the night that I just invented. You're the first member. It's like our secret ninja team of Night Shift ninjas. So, Chris, I salute you. So we're going to wrap it there. Also not endorsing anyone. Yeah, I'm not trying to endorse people either. Everybody should be under a microscope. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for being a part of this live stream. I know they're a little loose, and I'm still figuring this out as I go. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll try to pin this to a little bit more of a predictable format, and we'll get back on the UFO thing. I've got a great interview coming out on Friday with Matthew Roberts, the author of Initiated. This is a great book. He was on board the USS Theodore Roosevelt during the Gimbal and Go Fast events, and he wrote this amazing book. He is an experiencer. He has encountered beings, and he is a Navy cryptologist, former Navy cryptologist, who looked into it, and what he found was pretty astonishing. And he wrote this very interesting book. We had a great conversation. That interview will be going up Friday or Saturday, I believe Saturday morning. And I've got some new stuff coming next week, so we'll get into that in a few days. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll be back on Friday at 2 o'clock, and then I think starting next week, we might switch to a Tuesday, Thursday thing. instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I might just do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I need to go down to 2 days a week just to maintain the workload and keep everything balanced. Thanks again. I'll see you on the next one. Keep looking up, everybody.
It's the night shift, keeping watch at Area 51. Mind is sharp, eyes locked like a loaded gun. CCTV feeds, ET beings. Don't come round here, we can kill it if it bleeds. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Orbs light up the sky, something isn't right. Dark truths hidden, but I'm aware. Night shift soldier, secrets everywhere. You on the night shift, baby. On patrol, night camouflage, stealth mode on. Walking through the silence till the break of dawn. Hidden bases, close encounters of the fourth kind. Bob Lazar was right, this life's a grind. Sci-fi stories going down right before my eyes. They beaming signals for the stars, no disguise. Clearance above top secret, that's the key. You on the night shift, baby. Welcome to the mystery.